Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are in the game called the finals, and we're going to be talking about settings. I want to showcase a bunch of different things in here and give you guys some really good tips and breakdown as well for movement guide and things like that on other videos. But today's is going to be all about the settings, because when you first start the game, you won't be able to move the way I'm going to be moving here and in my videos that I put up. So make sure you take your time and master the settings. It's going to be things you can tweak, but we're going to get into it right now as we go. All right. So first and foremost, of course, in the settings, there's plenty of stuff that is personal preference. And then there's things that are just like, hey, you should probably put that on and do that. So the first one here, we're looking at use enemy team colors. You can turn this off. And what it does is there's enemies who are actually, that'll set up for in the games set up for different colors, and it's up to you if you want that on or off. Personally, I have it on standard, pretty much set to go. As far as region, of course, you're gonna have that automatic. Crossplay, of course, if you want to play crossplay, I would recommend it. Now this right here, this is important. This is your crosshair. Okay, you want it very thick, the way I'm doing it right now. It'll look ridiculous like this. Look like an old school. Oh, watch out, that thing's gonna blow. So if you want it that thick, then go for it. But reality is, it's perfectly fine the way they already have it. I tweaked some of this. I didn't want an outline and I didn't want red. I wanted green, but that has nothing to do with actually my recommendations for you. That's personal preference. Again, like I said, people tell you these settings and they tell you what you should have. In here, all these colors for your crosshair is personal preference. But I will say center dot on and off is a feature you should have, because if I turn it off, I don't have a center dot on my screen. I'm probably gonna miss maybe a little bit more. Maybe, we'll see. But I 100% recommend that on, and I recommend it at 4 or 5. Okay, it's a little big. It's going to be exaggerated on the screen, but you want that because now your centering is right in your view, and you'll be able to pop some shots and know when you're striking. Anything you're using, any weapon, any item you're throwing, you have a little more clear vision with the actual visuals. So that's important. All right, simple stuff, nothing too crazy. Now, as far as radius, the reason I have it on 5 is for the thickness to be there. And we're going to get into the important stuff. And this is going to be very difficult to go down the rabbit hole on and to explain in full detail and be here for an hour. No, we're not doing that. We're going to keep it short and simple. The first two are for your looking up and down. This is your main left, right, up and down sensitivities, right? So I have it at 350. I don't play at max speed. Maybe you do or you don't. And this is where that personal preference comes in. Tweak this. I put it up to 500. I said it was too fast. I dropped it to 4. Thought it was good. And then I went into a game. In the game, I said, oh no, wait, let me lower this. And I did upload that video. So this setting right here is a perfect example of me tweaking multiple times. I went down 4 times on this, all the way to 350. And I feel very good with that. Okay. And then now we're going to just kind of skim through some of this. Again, the boost, I have them similar for a reason. They're 220. The reason for this is because when you're looking up and down or left and right, you want to have the same control on your sticks. A lot of people tweak this and turn it all over the place, and you can get used to any which way you want. But the basic fundamental way is to have the same look speed for both most of the time, because then you're able to look left or up and have the same speed of movement while you're doing that. So that's why I have that there. And I want to explain some of those as we go. Ramp up. I don't like ramp ups in games too much, but they're nice because they give you that snappy feeling and it just helps. Okay. So that's why I have some of my ramp ups, for example, like the zoom ramp up. I have it at 1.2 at the moment. All right, dead zones, you can see I have it at 0, and that is basically your ability to move your sticks a little smoother. All right, so I have them both on 0, whether it's the left or right stick. as we go from there. The main key that I do want to point out, and this is the reason why we're skimming through this, you can pause it and take your own setup, is right here. This is linear. All right. Why? Because they have multiple settings in here and they're all terrible from what I've experienced and from what top players have told me. A couple of guys that are content creators talk to me about this, and they're not just content creators, they've won tournaments already for this game. So I don't know. There's other ways maybe you could experiment or something and tweak everything and do something different, but linear is the main way in a lot of video games that give you the stable movement and fluid overall. All right. Look, acceleration. Once again, I told you guys the ramp up stuff, turn that off. You don't want that. You want to control it fully. All of these settings here, I have them at default at the moment. I have not taken the time to like try to adjust your controller or do anything like that. Okay. I do have back controllers, 2 of them on this control. This is a PlayStation 5 controller, and I can jump and slide with them, and that's helpful. You can keep your hands on the aiming and all that. This is a very movement focused game, but yeah, so there's that going on, and then the rest of it is all default, guys. The vibration is another preference that people try to tell you to change, but I don't really subscribe to that nonsense. I turn off subtitles because I don't like the extra distraction. The color blinds, people always try to tweak this. I think it's fine the way it is. Now this is important. Motion blur, turn that bad boy off. Okay, you don't want to have distractions. Audio, at the moment I'm leaving the music on. I think it's dope. It's a good vibe for me personally. I have night mode on. A lot of games, when they have a night mode setting, it lets you hear footsteps. That's kind of what I've noticed. It kind of toned down the big blast and all that stuff, and that's what this, from what I tested here so far, that's what I felt so far. Besides that, there's really not much in here other than making sure motion blurs off and that your FOB is at the max. This is one of those things I was talking about in the beginning. This is at 80, and your movement, and you feel a bit slow. And this is one of those reasons why when you play default version of this game without tweaking the settings like I'm doing here, you're gonna have somewhat of like, what is going on? But once you do what I'm saying, you'll end up feeling much better about your movement, and overall being able to see more of the actual area is super helpful. So boom, take an enemy out, keep moving, jump shot, things like that. So very, very important that you set that up. I know that this video's decently long, but yeah. But then I turn off lens distortion. Look at the lens distortion on. You see how it has like a blur to it? Why would I want that? All right, we're not making movies or we're not doing VR. We're fine. Other than that, everything is set the way it is. There's not much you can tweak outside of that, but I promise that's more than enough. And you're going to see an improvement in your overall movement and play style and all that stuff. The thing, like I said, the main thing that is preference is the sensitivities, and I want to touch on it before we go. On controllers right here, it says look sensitivity, horizontal and vertical. Those two should be around 300, I would say, to 500. If you can go up to 5, that's even better, but it's not necessary because it's just flashiness to be able to flick left and right. All right, you should have targets in front of you at all times most of the time. And let's just make believe somebody's shooting from behind. I have enough reaction to turn around, right? Or maybe get to cover if I have to. I'll pop up to cover real quick, reload, and then come out of cover and be ready to fight this guy, right? So there's just certain ways to go about it. If my speed's too fast and I'm going like this, instead of aiming at this target that's right in front of me, then I need to lower it. And that's how you test it. Sometimes I'll just move around and then see if I can shoot the target. Boom. And if I can't, I have to lower my sensitivity because there's something going on. And that's where you can do the same, right? Other than that, the settings are pretty basic when it comes to that. This looks complicated, but just take a screenshot, test it out. And if you're not comfortable with what's going on, tweak these 2 up top because that's the ones that are going to control your movement for the most part. All right. That's pretty much it. I hope y'all enjoy the game. I've been having fun with it. A couple of things outside of this game that are not exactly settings, but I will say they have a tournament mode, which is very cool, and I think we should all get into that right here. I'm not going to play it today, but very, very cool. They also have ranked tournaments, which is another amazing thing. So check all that out. I do have my first gameplay, and I'm doing movement guide as well. So check those out on the channel. Appreciate y'all.